is on, but we can just see, I think it's the table if I'm not mistaken.
Wait a second. Yeah, I can see you see me now.
Yeah, oh, one more time, please mute your microphones if you're not talking. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon. I trust that we are all well and all connected. And thank you for making the time to join us. We've got a lovely panel joining us. I'd like to thank our partners, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, the Young Professionals for Agricultural Development, YPARD, and the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network for coming together with us today as we also celebrate World Youth Day. We're celebrating youth, climate action in agriculture, the initiatives and the couple of engagements. Before we proceed, would kindly request Jana to give us our marching orders and how we're supposed to proceed with today's event. Thank you, Jana.
Hello, hello everyone. My name is Jana. I am the communication specialist for the Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture. I would like to remind all of the participants that please feel free to use the chat room and the Q&A section. We will answer all of your questions, and don't worry if the questions won't be answered today. There will be a follow-up email and everything is going to be answered. So please feel free to communicate with us, and we're here for you. So enjoy this webinar.
Thank you, Jana. Welcome again to this webinar. I think the last we checked, Jana, we had over 200 registered participants from all over the globe who've signed up for this. And I see the numbers joining the webinar slowly increasing. Thank you very much for making the time. Today, we come together in celebration of World Youth Day. I had mentioned we've got FAO, YPARD, CSAYN, and also the government of the Netherlands who have joined and graced us with this event. And also want to thank you partners and participants from all around the globe to highlight the ways in which the engagement of youth in enriching institutions and processes, and to draw lessons on how youth representation and engagement can be significantly enhanced. I am Lufingo Mwamakamba, the moderator. I'm the regional CSA Alliance leader at GACSA, which is a multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral platform fostering knowledge exchange and learning and building partnerships. The youth population is a dividend that we need to harness and to unlock the potential of the next generation of innovators and change agents. To realize this dividend and to amplify the youth potential, we are honored to have this great panel of leading youth around the world to showcase their proactive initiatives. However, to set the scene, I'm also privileged for us to also have Marcel van Nijnatten, who has graced us and made time to join us. Marcel is head of food security unit at the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality. The unit is among others responsible for climate change in relation to agriculture and food security. He's also the Dutch focal point for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and also for GACSA. Marcel, thank you very much, and we welcome you as you give us our introductory remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Lufingo, for giving me the floor and having me actually. And thanks for GACSA for organizing this important webinar. As you stated, indeed, it is important that youth is involved and youth has an active voice and contributes to the discussions at hand. As you explained, I am Marcel van Nijnatten, head of the food security unit within the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality. And we are proud to be a donor of GACSA, and we will continue to be so, because we think that the Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture has a vital role to play in bringing people together to actually deliver on the ground. As I promised you, Lufingo, when we discussed this, I'll be a little bit provocative. And that is not because that is the position of the Dutch government per se, but that is to get our panelists up to gear, and to enliven the discussion a bit. So let me just give you an example from the Netherlands on the first statement that I want to make. And the first statement that I want to make is that the stage of advocacy for climate change is over. We are currently experiencing here in the Netherlands a heat wave that is unseen. Just an hour ago, we had the 6th consecutive day of over 30 degrees. And we had a number of days over 35 degrees. Now, it's always hard to actually attribute that to climate change, individual weather events, but it is all over the papers. And with that, climate change and what we can actually do to make our lives livable under these conditions. And that doesn't only go for us being hot at work, but also on farmers and what they want to do. It is a bit strange, of course, that once people feel the heat of the sun, they become aware of climate change. It's especially strange in a country where half of the population is living below sea level. And the greatest challenge for us, of course, is rising sea levels. But it is illustrative in the sense that people are aware. I think, and youth has played a very, very vital role in that everybody now is aware of climate change, the impact it can have on individual lives, on society, and so on. Youth, as I said, has played a vital role. We all know Greta Thunberg, and she did a lot to create the momentum for climate change and actually to put the long-term perspective on it. What she said is also, how dare you, you are playing with my future. Now, for policymakers, that is a vital concept, because most policymakers are facing the electorate within a relatively small space of time, say 4 years. So why would a policymaker address a long-term issue like climate change and make hard choices there if the electorate is giving the voice to oust him or her within 4 years? So the long-term perspective, the youth perspective, is very important. And I think that was a success, the advocacy. And of course, it is tempting to build on that success and to go to convince the last soldier lagging behind to also convince, to also subscribe to climate change and its many aspects. But I would urge you to move on from that. Because, quite frankly, there's nothing you can do at the moment to convince that last soldier, that last oil company, that hasn't taken that hasn't counted its benefits and assets. There isn't things you can do to actually convince an ardent climate denier at this stage that there is a problem. So I would urge you to move on from trying to convince the utterly unconvincible people, whether they be companies, scientists, or politicians, or indeed elderly people. And I would like you to move on from that. The time, I said, for advocacy is over. So what time has come? And I would say we now have the time of action. We are in the stage where action is absolutely needed. Absolutely needed on the ground and absolutely needed now. If you look at the IPCC reports, there is the famous 1.5 degree report, and it has as a most important conclusion that it is possible to achieve the Paris goals, even the 1.5 degree. And the only thing you have to do is make the same measures, take the same measures as you would have to do for the 2 degree target, but you have to take them more quickly. So you don't have to do extra things, you just have to do them more quickly. And incidentally, if you do them more quickly, the costs are lower and the benefits, also in economic terms, are far bigger. So what I would like, what you see now in the policy environment is that a lot of the money is flowing towards climate change, and related to that, to the post-COVID food security crisis that is actually happening as we speak. And the focus for that money, for that attention, is at the country level. And for that, you need to have take a careful look at the makeup of the Paris Agreement. Basically, the Paris Agreement says we set the targets and you countries tell us what you're going to do to meet those targets. And these countries have written plans. That's what we call the nationally determined contributions, or NDCs. And now all the money is flowing towards implementing those NDCs. And there is a lot of not only, say, bilateral money from governments like the Dutch government or the German government or even the American government or whatever, but also from multilateral institutions like the World Bank, like the African and the Asian Development Banks and that sort of institutions. And it is flowing at the country level. And what you see now is that that is taken up by FAO. The new executive director of FAO has launched his hand-in-hand initiative. And what he is trying to do there is to see at the country level how FAO and the agriculture-related organizations working at the country level can work together towards ensuring food security and climate change. So that is exactly where climate smart agriculture can become a reality on the ground. Now, all those institutions are now working with countries, with governments, with NGOs, with private sector, and with the scientific community, and I would definitely stress that, to come up with good ideas. And here is where I'm gonna make my point. Rather than go for the last soldier to be converted to climate change, I would like youth very much to give input in that process. Please, what we need as governments, as donors, is good, bankable ideas that work on the ground for you. So that work not only now for the companies or the scientists working now, but that it will be working for you in the future, in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and 50 years. And it is up to youth to think outside of the box, to come up with groundbreaking ideas, with innovative ideas. We, I'm sorry to say, are a little bit stuck in the institutional framework that we work in the way money flows. We know our partners, but we don't know the partners that we don't know. And we are looking to youth to come up with those out-of-the-box partners, sources of money, ideas, and companies. Because I know there are a lot of startups, especially by youth, that are very innovative and very effective. So that is, for me, the stress that I want to give and the challenge I want to give to the panel discussion. Let's move to the stage of action and please give us the good ideas that we need to finance. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Marcel. Thank you for the passion and for challenging us and for the motivation. Marcel, your point is very clear and you've reiterated it clearly in that we are in unprecedented times and the impact of these challenges cut across all sectors of life. There's a buzz that I was trying to type out the buzzwords that you were laying out. What is our future? Why would policymakers come up with decisions for the future for the youth without the youth? The time is now. Let's move on. Stop convincing. We need to act now. Thank you very much, Marcel, for that. That's very motivating, and to the panel as you reflect, and also as the participants as you join in, let's also reflect on these challenging words that Marcel has laid out. We need to come up with bankable solutions. The future is now. Thank you very much, Marcel. We are going to switch gears now. And switching gears, we're moving on to this amazing panel that we have. We've got Della Rucato from the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network. We've got Nikki Chaudhary, Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger, and Sebastian Pais from YPARD. If I may start with you, Della. Della is the coordinator for the Southern Africa hub of the Climate Smart Youth Network and also the Zimbabwe Climate Smart Agriculture Country Network. If you could please tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the initiatives that you run and you're implementing and how you get the youth involved in these initiatives. Nadella.
Okay, thank you so much, Lufingo. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here. Like the way I was introduced, my name is Della Rukato, the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network Country Coordinator in Zimbabwe, and I'm also the SADA Coordinator, liaising with South Africa, Malawi, Zambia, and the like. Actually, Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network is spread across the world. It is actually in 65 countries, including Germany, the United States of America, Canada. We're actually celebrating our 6th anniversary this year. Our main thrust is to engage young people to adapt to climate smart practices towards improving on agricultural production and productivity. We have been doing both advocacy and action. We hold workshops. We have held several workshops with the youth, teaching them on the adaptation of climate smart practices, and then we always do a follow-up where we see if they've been adhering to what we've told them. And we have, in most of the countries, we actually have some demo fields where we go and we show them practically how it's supposed to be done. After that, after the season is over, we always time to monitor to see if there was an improvement in their produce, because after practicing what we would have told them, there should be an increase. Basically, I would say that this is what we do. And then we are also into schools and universities. We would want to catch them while they're still young, while they're still there. And we teach them on, we make them know on the climate smart practices as well. And right now in Zimbabwe, we're actually in the process of trying to engage the schools. We have schools that are doing agriculture. We want to engage them so that we can see them doing them, being practical, practicing the climate smart practices. We would want to see them being done. And basically, I'll say maybe that is what we're doing right now. We are also, we also sensitize the youth in SDGs so that they are well aware of what is happening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Della, for giving us a bit background on where you're coming from and the initiatives that you're doing. I would like also to hear from you, Nikki. Could you just give us a brief background on the initiatives that you're running?
Thank you, Lufingo. So I'm involved in agriculture in North Indian state, Uttar Pradesh since 2011. So within agriculture, I'm involved in crop production, agribusiness, and dairy farming. So these are the three activities that we are deeply engaged in. And so I founded Chaudhary Agriculture Services Private Limited in 2014, which now has more than 25 young people working with us, and it's a talented youth team. And we have tech developers, we have agronomists, and people planning all the purchases and sales of inputs. So we are currently serving farmers on more than 30,000 acres. And we provide them with crop inputs such as fertilizers, seeds, and other crop protection inputs, along with agronomy advisory and crop input credit. And we have developed our own digital platform, Suvidha, which aims to simplify the way a farmer purchases inputs, applies those inputs, and take optimal decisions regarding use of inputs. So basically, we aim to transition our growers to climate positive agronomic systems, which is a set of climate resilient and sustainable agricultural practices. And I'm very sure that we will be able to transition them to sustainable agricultural practices. And also I founded Chaudhary Farms Dairy in 2014 to bring efficiency in the way raw milk is produced. Because here in India, if we see the cattle productivity per day is extremely low, and therefore it means much higher greenhouse gas emissions per liter of milk that is produced. So that is also the project that we have taken up, and we are ready to scale up both the businesses, the agri-inputs retail business as well as dairy farming. And I'm also a board member of Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger at FAO, which was formed in the year 2018 after Committee on World Food Security 45 event, when there was a delegation of young people sitting in the room, and there was an interactive session on youth as drivers of innovation. And so after listening to the delegation, FAO and other member states, they realized that they should be given voice as such for us, which is not present. So to bring up the momentum of bringing all international agri youth organizations together and giving space to young people involved in agriculture at global policy making for us, this was decided that this Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger should be formed, which can work with the 3 Rome-based agencies, which are FAO, YPARD, and WFP. So as of now, we are a team of 16 young people from different geographies and involved in different agri-food systems. And as of now, we are trying to establish ourselves and mobilizing resources, but hopefully soon we will be able to start working with wider youth networks and young people in agriculture across the world. So yes, this is where we are as of now.
Thank you very much, Nikki, and we're eager to hear more as we get into the panel discussion and some of the initiatives that you're running and how you engage the young people. Sebastian, please come in and tell us more about where you're coming from and the different initiatives that you are running, especially with YPARD.
Okay, good morning, everyone. From here, from this side of the world, and good afternoon. My name is Sebastian. I am part of the steering committee of YPARD. YPARD is an international movement for young professionals working in agriculture. We have more than 27,000 members around the world, and 4 divisions in Africa, Asia, Europe, and Latin America and the Caribbean. And what we are looking for is empower youth, and try to involve them in transformation of agri-food systems. We try to make visible the initiatives that they are working from the territories and try to generate a community of learning and these spaces to exchange experience. I think when you learn about other youth that are transforming food systems, that are using new ways to have a more innovation in agriculture, I think it's a perfect way to empower to others. And we also try to involve youth in different spaces of policy making and to make our voice heard. I think that's one of the key things that we are doing now. And also, this is also related with environment and now climate action. I think we cannot continue, making agriculture in the same way as our grandparents were doing. We have to start to implement new actions like agroecology, like using new ICTs. We are the generation that have access to these ICTs. So that's why we are trying to collaborate with different partners, with the governments, with international organizations to bring all this knowledge they are developing in these research centers into the field, with local farmers, and try to promote our initiatives. I think we need to start to, like I mentioned, to implement actions about agroecology, working to reduce the food waste, and working with new technologies, you know. I think that's the secret. And sure, we are working every day to try to involve more youth, you know, in agriculture. If you go to rural areas, you can see that every day less youth is working there and more youth is, you know, moving into the cities. So we need to try to bring them opportunities. That's exactly what YPARD do, is try to facilitate the access to opportunities and connect youth with opportunities and to interesting experience from other youth around the world. And that's why we are trying to create different initiatives. For example, right now in Peru, there are some youth leaders that are leading a rural youth school to try to empower the future generation that's going to transfer our agricultural systems. We have also, for example, in the Caribbean, a lot of youth leaders that are using ICTs right now in this context of COVID-19 to try to connect the producers with the local farmers to reduce the cost and promote, you know, these short market circuits. So I think when you try to use these technologies and these social media put into the agriculture, it's going to motivate more youth to involve in agriculture and make sexy the agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like the way you ended that last part. How do we make agriculture a lot more sexy and attractive to the youth? Now that we have a bit of a good understanding and a background of who you are and what you're doing, I want to zero in more on today's focus. Drawing on this year's International Youth Day theme of engaging the youth in global action, and for us zeroing into climate action in agriculture, and also building from the challenge that we've been given by Marcel. Let me start with you, Della. Why do you think it is very important for us to encourage young people to take part in agriculture?
Thank you so much. I believe that the youth, can you hear me? I believe that the youth is the backbone of any country. They constitute 60% of the world population, and as such, any value addition in any country is better implemented when we engage them, when they're involved. And then when you look at it, the global market is depressed right now, with many people losing their employment. And then if we have many youth taking up agriculture, they will create employment and hence help to eradicate poverty, help with zero tolerance to hunger, improve the food security of their countries, helping with climate action, as well as sustainable consumption. Would like to see agriculture being taken as a business. When I look at my country, most of the agriculture that was being done, it was mostly subsistence farming for home consumption, with just a few leftovers being sold as grain for the nation to feed on. So you discover that a scenario like that will leave the nation having to import maize. Like in my country, maize is the staple food. They'll have to import maize, money which can be used for other development. So we want to see the youth coming in, creating employment, and increasing the production of agriculture in the country. Well, the youth, these young people, they're energetic, hence they will be able to do more in their prime age. They are still booming with many fresh ideas to improve produce and productivity. We would want to do away with this ideology that agriculture should only be regarded as an occupation to be done when somebody is retired. We want it done when people are still in their prime, when they can still do a lot, when they can still run around. We would want to see the next billionaires coming from agriculture. We want to see agriculture being treated like a business that it is. You discover that there is a high demand for both locally and for both local and abroad. And then there are vast opportunities for the youth to export and earn forex. Unlike other business ventures, you discover that agriculture requires a little startup capital as it can be done from the backyard. So we want to see the youth start from the backyard and then they grow their businesses. We want to see them starting to get the knowledge while they're still in schools, when they're in colleges, and they grow in doing their businesses. We want to see the youth getting more involved in in agriculture, so as to improve, like I said, the forex earning in their countries. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Della. I like that. The next billionaires are coming from agriculture. The youth are part of the solution. Agriculture should and is a business. You know, traditionally when people talk about agriculture, they talk more of crop farming. What is it, Nikki? What is it about the dairy sector that can be very attractive to young people, and how can we stimulate youth startups and support them?
Thank you, Lufingo, for the question. So, so I will present the Indian context, or maybe in context of the developing nations, I will answer this question. So the biggest transformation that has to happen is yet to happen in dairy sector, or say in livestock, compared to crop production. Though I'm not saying crop production is going very well, but in comparison with crop production, dairy and livestock is lagging behind a lot. So if I give you, I share with you some statistics about India. In India, we are the largest milk producer in the world. But at the same time, we also have world's 66% of cattle population here in India. So with this kind of cattle population, the milk productivity per year of cow or buffalo is just 800 liters, compared to say 10,000 liters in Israel, or 12,000 liters in Europe. So this is a very big gap which has to be bridged. Now, with such a low milk productivity, this means that we are extremely high on our greenhouse gas emissions per liter of milk that is being produced. And also, milk being an important source for nutritional security of people, it becomes an extremely important sector to work upon. So in India, or maybe in other developing countries, dairy is highly fragmented, unorganized. So this is a challenge, but at the same time, it's a very big opportunity for young people to get into this sector and get involved in maybe developing technologies for better farm management, in creating organized, highly efficient dairy farms, in doing product innovation, processing, packaging, marketing. So yes, there is a very big opportunity for youth to come in here. And as regards to your question, how we can stimulate such startups. So one answer to that would be that we need to create a culture of entrepreneurship within agricultural universities. So all the people taking up agricultural courses, especially in animal husbandry, there should be pitching sessions, and the young ones to be encouraged to write business plans and develop business models, and some kind of small ticket investment should be given to them, so they start taking up such entrepreneurial initiatives. So and also, most importantly, the success stories of young people who are already there in these startups, these should get shared, so they become very big motivation for others to follow and work on these lines. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. There are multiple entry points in the value chain, and there are multiple opportunities and I like the emphasis that you've placed on entrepreneurships and where exactly can we latch onto these entry points. I do acknowledge that the fact that yes, there's still a lot of transformation processes that need to be in place, but also we need to take advantage of these various entry points. I want us to switch gears slightly and bring in Sebastian. I'm with GACSA, and GACSA is a platform on climate smart agriculture. We bring in different multi-stakeholder partners and sectors together to dialogue. You are with YPARD, and over the years, we have seen a number of different multi-stakeholder platforms and alliances, networks being established at national, regional levels, and also global levels to support these type of initiatives. Tell us about what is it with YPARD? How can and how do youth benefit from such platforms as?
Okay, so I think the first topic that I want to bring to the conversation is that, you know, through the different processes that YPARD leads in the territories, you know, we empower youth, and we need to make that the youth understand how important is to be part of these conversations, is to be part of these platforms. I think that's one of the things that, you know, that of the objectives that YPARD has, and it's try to have this, create a community of learning, you know, a community where you can, you know, exchange, you know, different initiatives that you have and learn from others. I think in our culture, also, probably I think especially in Latin America also, we have learned that we have to compete with others. You know, we have to also be in a competition with other youth leaders, but I think we have to cooperate. And that's why YPARD and other organizations teach us, is to try to cooperate with others, how I can teach from all about my experience and learn about the experience from other youth to try to implement the same things that they are leading in other part of the world, in my community, in my territory. So I think through these processes, and as we try to be organized, I think different organizations and in different levels, you know, in local level, government, and also international organizations are start to be, you know, interested and seeing that the youth leaders know what we know. I think I really love the, you know, the like words expression for this webinar is nothing about youth without youth. And I think that's really essential for us to try to have conversations. I think different local governments and international organizations all the time are, you know, implementing projects and initiatives in the territories. But when they try to evaluate and monitor that, they're going to try, or they notice that it doesn't work because they don't take account, you know, the context of every territory. And as youth leader, we can be these partners. So as they know that we are organized, that we already know what we do, and that we have a good experience, we know our territory, we know what are our problems, but also we have ideas and, you know, specific proposals to solve these problems. I think, you know, all the organizations start to, you know, put their eyes in our work. And I think that's something that YPARD have been doing, you know, for many years. I think other thing is try to start to work with these organizations to different initiatives. I think YPARD has been working, you know, in international level, as you say, with really big organizations. And that's one of the keys. When we can start to work with them, you know, to build a relationship that is not easy, because of course also youth leaders in some countries don't trust, you know, in international organizations. So it's a process to build this relationship. And as soon, you know, we can build that, they can see that the impact that we as youth leaders can create. I think so. That's why we try to involve, you know, our youth members to these spaces, to dialogue and to policy making, you know, about agriculture, about climate change, because we know, you know, we are the ones, we are the generation of now and the generation of the future. So I think as this organization understand that without us they can do nothing, or that they can probably do better with us, I think that's one of the key points of this. So I think the final message is try to build this relationship with the organizations, but also have our values, on mind. I think as youth leaders, it doesn't matter if we work with an organization, we have to have on mind what are the objectives or what are the main ideas that help us, work, together. And that's why YPARD brings, try to join and make that all people around the world with different ideas, with different contexts work together to solve the same problem, and it's a transformation of agri-food systems.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. I'm seeing questions also trickling in from the participants. I'm going to switch to Della. There's a question for you, Della. If you could help us with this, we would like Della to give specific case studies or examples of smart agriculture practices. It sounds too theoretical so far. Do you have any examples that you would like to share with the participants, some of the initiatives that you are running in Southern Africa?
Okay, thank you. Like what I said, we have had some workshops, like what I was telling you about on climate smart agriculture. So we were telling our participants, unfortunately, that workshop, we had youth together with old people, and we're telling them about, warning them about shrimp farming, and we also talked about like banning what we call mashanga, the stocks that remain in the fields. And they were actually very shocked. They had been told about, it's always talked about that they're not supposed to be doing stream bank farming, that they're not supposed to start wildfires, but they never really understood why they were not supposed to do it. Many of them actually confessed in that workshop that they actually had been coming from banning stocks in their fields so that they can start tilling their fields. And then that's when we told them about not tilling the field, zero tillage. We're actually telling them about zero tillage. And we also engage with different fertilizer companies so that we go organic more than using the chemical fertilizers, more than using chemicals to spray their fields. We look for organic methods that they can, we advise them on the organic methods that they can use to control pests. So we are in partnerships with different organizations, fertilizer organizations. We're in partnerships with the Ministry of Agriculture. We're actually in partnership with livestock as well, the livestock department. And then you discover that with when it comes to livestock, in Zimbabwe, people love rearing roadrunners, the indigenous chickens. We tell them on the various new breeds that are there right now, how they can take care of them, how they can do it without endangering the climate. I'm not so sure if I answered that properly.
Thank you, Della. I think that's clear, but as we move forward, let's also try to think of and give the participants any concrete, tangible examples that we have so that they can also relate with some of the things that they're doing and how exactly we're engaging the youth in our various different processes. I want to build on the challenge that were presented by Marcel and looking at how we thinking, or we could possibly think outside the box, enabling the engagement of youth in informal mechanisms and how we get youth involved in these processes. And Nikki, you had mentioned some of the initiatives that you've got and some of the things that you're running. What tools and technologies can make agri-food systems and jobs for the youth more attractive and profitable?
Like mobile phone and internet use is growing rapidly, and people are now much more well connected to information and with each other than they were ever. So these channels can be utilized in promoting agriculture amongst youth, and also social media can play a very important role in improving the perception towards agriculture of youth, and it is in fact playing a very important role, which I've seen in past few years. So basically, the one challenge that is always being, especially in developing countries, is the negative perception that young people hold towards agriculture, that it is backward, it doesn't have any uh, money, there is no scope for growth, which in fact is not true. But yes, through social media, a lot of good things are also happening, and so this is one very important tool. And other tools that can be used to attract youth in agri-food systems is putting agriculture on school curricula, by giving exposure to students to farming, livestock, and so that from very early on they can see agriculture as a potential career. So basically, agriculture is still not present in school curricula in many countries, in several countries. So this is something which needs to be done. And also important is that we need to strengthen, upgrade, and continually evolve higher education in agriculture and link it with technology, facilitating innovation and encouraging, agripreneurship by various other ways that can happen. And within agricultural universities, we need to have, model farms, so that young the students, they can get, practical exposure, and they know, okay, this is how I can get into this field. And other thing is empowering young people to speak up at local, national, and international policy spaces. So again, this is something which is happening now in recent years, and today also we are having this this webinar. So this is also very motivating and very important for young people to get attracted to agriculture. And regarding with the coming up of digital technologies which are able to improve farm productivity and reduce transaction costs, it is able to basically simplify agriculture. So again, this is an opportunity for young to get involved, and also at the same time is an attraction point, because now agriculture is actually getting modernized with the help of these digital technologies. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Sebastian, there's also a question posed for you. What is a good idea that we can push as youth in Latin America?
Yeah, I think Latin America is important scenario, for food production, in all world. I think last year has been happening, something different. I think in every country, leaders start to think what I can do for change, my reality, how I can do, for change the context of my territory. So I think that has been really good, and I think big institutions are starting to, put their eyes in every country. So I think we have to work together. We have to start to, also show what are we doing in the territories, because there are amazing initiatives, amazing projects that people and youth leaders are leading, in local communities. So I think the one of the things that we can do is, show, spread the word, what we are doing, these small initiatives, and try to work together, how we can improve it, and how we can connect together to make that, a bigger impact. I think that's one of the things. Other things start to involve more youth leaders in network, like YPARD, the international network that we are, seeing and that are burning every day in Latin America and around the world, because, just together we can do, something bigger. We can have a bigger impact. So as soon as we can work together, we can, make hear our voice to the government. And as Nikki says, be part of these spaces to dialogue about politics, and also show, what are the solutions that we know and we think that we can be implemented to solve our problems. I've seen a very, very common problem in Latin America, I've seen also in around the world, if the government try to implement and solve problems, but they don't take in account, the community, they don't take in account the youth leaders, they don't take in account the concept. So that I just mentioned before, they're going to try to implement these solutions. They see that it doesn't work, Probably they're going to affect more the community to that brings, beneficial and, things, good things, I think. So I think as soon as we can, work together, organize, and make hear our voice, this government is going to, tell us and say, hey, come on here to talk about agriculture, to talk about youth. And this is something that is happening right now in Latin America. I think right now, the international organizations of FAO, like YPARD, and the government, when they want to know or when they want to implement some actions to involve rural youth and to involve, youth in agriculture, they call these leaders to talk with them and to try to find, solutions, because we are the youth leaders, we have the ideas, the innovation, and the knowledge, to transfer this reality. So I think this is something that is happening here, but also it's something that is, happening around the world, not only here in Latin America.
Thank you very much. This would cut across the panelists, all three panelists. How do we help young people access, can be land or different entry points into the different value chains, and ensure job security if they decide to get involved in agriculture? Any of the panelists that feels ready to answer to that question? How do we ensure that we keep them involved and engaged in? Do you want to give that a go, Della?
Can you just come again with the question?
The question is, yes, the question is, how do we help young people access different entry points or land and ensure job security if they decide to work in agriculture? You came up with some interesting points on how to keep agriculture as business. So how do we proceed with that and keep them and ensure that there's that job security and continuous engagement with the youth?
Okay, what I believe is that just like any other business, it will be difficult to grow a business. They will need a lot of monitoring, a lot of nurturing, a lot of the workshops that we're talking about, and monitoring, close monitoring, so that where they're about to fall, we can help them to stand on their feet again. And at times, they might be let me see how I can phrase this. They might be using the wrong crop in the wrong environment. They need all that information so that they can be able to know which crop to use. And then you look at the climate that we have right now, and the seasons that we have. They will need to be sensitized on the right seeds that they can use. So they will need a lot of network with the different players in agriculture so that they can get as much information as they can and be helped on how to reach good increased production in whatever that they are doing. They start small and they grow big. If they start big and they make losses, it will be it will be very discouraging. So they need to be encouraged to start small and grow big. Try different varieties according to the climate that they are in. Thank you.
Thank you, Della. We are edging towards the final mark of our event here. And I like what you have raised, Della, and it brings across the points that raised by Sebastian and Nikki in terms of we need close mentorship programs, hand-holding, and making sure that the right entry points are there, the right resources are there, the right tools are available. We are right now faced with this global pandemic. It's a big challenge cutting across every sector. And with the initiatives that we are currently running, we all have been affected at one point or some point. What can you as youth do to promote agriculture within this context and within the restrictions? I would request if all three could answer to that, please. We can start with you, Sebastian.
Okay, so I think, sure, like I mentioned, I think COVID-19 has been like a tragedy for all around, all world. But also, if we think, for agriculture, in some ways, it has been, something positive. Why? Because, in cities, more people is starting to grow, their own food, in their houses, and people start to wonder, where it comes from my food? Yeah, so I think this is trying to put, agriculture and food production, on the field, on the local, on the position of the, as youth leaders and government are talking about. So I think right now, this pandemic and try to involve, youth and keep that they keep doing, agriculture in this context. Demands, effort to a multi-sectoral effort, It's not about just about governments, it's not about just universities, it's about all together, because it affects all together. So all of our amazing panelists, mentioned before, there are different, initiatives that youth leaders, mostly with ICTs and technology, are leading, in different places. So as I mentioned, for example, in the Caribbean and in some places in South America, youth leaders are using ICTs and developing apps to try to connect these local farmers with the people that is in the cities. And these people, try to, this can connect, and this is going to reduce the cost. It's going to, make that these people receive, the money, the minimum money and the enough money for their production. This is a big problem that we have in Latin America, and it's about we have these many actors, in this process of where when you have the production and these productions, going out from rural areas and until the point that arrives to your dish. We have different actors, and these different actors, they look, the value of, and they did receive enough money. So they are using this app and social media to, reduce and connect directly, these farmers to the people, in the cities and in the people that is buying food. So I think this is a really good point. And I think also we have to work in collaboration with universities, with research centers, with our ancestors, to combine this knowledge, the knowledge that they are developing in universities and research centers, the policies that are implementing the government, also the local knowledge, and try to, design, a food system that are resilient and sustainable, for next generation. So as soon as we can keep doing that and supporting local, farmers and trying to, consume and have a buy our food, locally, it's going to support, and we're going to, try to keep doing agriculture and supporting, these small local farmers using ICTs and other amazing tools that we like. As should we, we have the ideas and the innovation to do that. So basically, it's that.
Thank you very much. Can I move on to you, Nikki?
That was really interesting, Sebastian. So COVID-19 showed us how fragile our agri-food system is, and how much more we really need to do in agri sector and basically throughout the value chain. So food is needed by us all, and not just any food, but a food that is nutritious and sustainably produced to protect our planet and to overcome the impacts of climate change. So there is now a whole lot of opportunities and in fact a need for youth engagement in the sector. Like after COVID-19. So basically this during this time, what we are seeing in India, a lot of agri-tech startups are coming. And also we are seeing that investors are now getting interested in agri sector, because when during the lockdown and post COVID-19, when everything was shut, agriculture was moving. Farmers were working and the value chains were on and serving people. So agriculture is an essential activity. It cannot shut down. So this has also become a lot of attraction point for people to come here and be part of the solution and need. And as rightly pointed out by one of the very renowned geneticists and scientists, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, he says that now we need another green revolution. So if now agriculture goes in wrong direction, then nothing else would have chance to go in right direction. So yeah, so basically youth will have to get enthusiastic, excited, and be encouraged to be part of agri-food systems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Della?
Thank you. I do agree with what Sebastian said. This is the time that we should go local. Young people should promote local consumption, and I think we should also decentralize. Advertising of goods should be done at local at a local level, and then this is the time to use social media for our marketing in light of these travel restrictions. But I also believe that even though families have started doing backyard gardening, they won't do gardening of most things. So the youth can use that to leverage on that to maximize on production. And I think this is actually also the time to promote healthy eating by growing and marketing garlic, onions, and other related products that can help us to boost the immune system. And we should also, as the young people, should also increase production, since there will be high demand of food. No matter even if some families, like I said, they're doing backyard gardening, they might have started doing their poultry project, but not every family will be able to do that. So it's time to increase production, since the majority of manufacturers have scaled down, this is our time. This is our time to increase production and productivity, and to promote healthy eating, and promote local market, decentralize. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I like the way how you've all summed up this particular question, because you've dug through the different various points that we had raised as we had started. And just coming through, I mean, we started talking about how fragile the agri-food system is, and that we are all part of the solution. We touched on ICTs and how best can we use such technology to connect local farmers with the market. Use of social media, for example. How can we bring about collaborative work and stir up good partnerships? Promotion of and supporting local farmers and local knowledge, and advertising food at local level, and that promotion of healthy living. We touched on the need for youth engagement in sectors, and also that there are lots of opportunities there. Nikki, you raised the issue of agri-tech startups, and the way how you've seen investors are also getting excited about these initiatives. Agriculture, I like that. Agriculture cannot be shut down, and it is an attraction point. The youth should leverage on this and get excited about this. Everything else could probably shut down, but agriculture can never shut down, and the youth must get excited, and it's our role to keep them encouraged and continuously engaged. We are running short of time. I want to close up, and I'll give you quick last parting shots before we totally close. The youth face multiple challenges, and thanks to Marcel for laying it down for us and further challenging us to be the solution. Please, if you can mute your mic, Bella.
Hello, can you come again?
Forward,
sorry?
Please mute your mic. One key step forward is to create awareness and present such platforms as such as these, where we can raise such and share more of these, and make sure that we are part of these solutions. There are a number of needs and opportunities that we've identified to engage the youth, as highlighted by our panelists. And we must acknowledge the diversity that we have of different youth, and avoid one-size-fits-all solutions. As we get to this, I would like to ask the panelists if you have any last burning parting shots. There are a number of questions that have been raised. Because of time, we will get to those answers and share the recording and the report of this event, and also get to answer those questions. But to my panelists, are there any burning shots that you have that you'd like to give before we close? I can start with you, Della. Are there any parting shots that you have that you'd like to share? And then we'll go around to Nikki and end with Sebastian.
Yes, definitely. Before I came for this meeting, I actually had a meeting with some youth, and they have some burning needs. Like they say that in order for them to be able to create employment, in order for them to offer food security, in order for them to help with zero tolerance to hunger, eradicate poverty, before all this can be achieved, they're actually crying out for land and the title to that land. And they would also want total support of their governments, especially the relevant ministries that work with the young people. This was highlighted before in this meeting, that they would need financial and material resources in order for them to be able to achieve maximum production. Equally important, they would need awareness workshops, trainings, and monitoring as well on climate smart practices towards improving of production and productivity. I thank you.
Thank you, Della. Nikki?
So the main message that I would like to give here is that today's young generation young people, they should be part of something that can help world, societies, and communities on lot of fronts. So agriculture is one such opportunity, and we have to take it seriously, and we have to do it responsibly in order to see our farmer communities thriving, in order to secure, in order uh, contribution in this sector can be extremely important. So yes, you should take on risk and have the courage to be part of this sector and take challenges head on. And now young people are getting together, harmonizing, collaborating, and having a lot of opportunity, and they are being listened at global policy making spaces. So they should not take their steps back. So yeah, this is my message. Just be brave and just be part of it. Be part of agri food systems. We need you.
Yes, Sebastian.
So it has been, an amazing conversation and sharing with you, guys that have amazing experience. And I think there are a lot to do and a lot to say also. But I just want to finish to mention something. It's like also as kids, when we was growing, up in our village, in our cities, every day we start to watch in TV and magazines and radio about superheroes. And especially now with the COVID-19, we start to see the superheroes, okay, the doctors, the policy members, policy officers, but we can't forget, for me, the real heroes are farmers, agriculture. So I think we have to, work together to make that the future generation and the current generation understand the importance of the role of farmers, the importance of the role of rural youth, the transformation of rural areas, in the transformation of rural development, in the transformation of our society. So I think we have to keep, working together. Let's put all the ideas together and to be part of these spaces, to make that our voices be heard. I think the message is to act, locally and think globally and impact globally. I think together we are stronger, and I think we can, build, a new rural development, using our ideas, using, the knowledge that we are developing, in research centers, with government, with international organizations, and as Nikki said, let's keep working in agriculture, because I think we are, and you are, the real superheroes of our society. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much to my panelists for those parting shots. We need to think about future generations, nothing for the youth without the youth. And again, with that, I want to thank the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, FAO, YPARD, CSAYN, and thank you very much for the participants as well, and Marcel for sticking around and giving us these words. We truly appreciate it. Please stay tuned and follow GACSA for more exciting upcoming features. There'll be a lot more to come. Jana, I would like to hand this over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Lufingo. I would like to firstly thank all the speakers and the panelists. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting discussions. I believe that all the attendees learned a lot. There were many very interesting points that were brought up. I would like to inform everyone that there will be a follow-up email. There were many questions raised by the participants. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough of time to answer everything. So please, we have all your questions. All the questions will be answered. Yes, there will be a follow-up email. And as the last point, I would like to inform everyone that this is a series of webinars, and we would like to encourage all GACSA constituencies to kindly volunteer for the upcoming webinars, as we are already having few members lined up. So if you feel like volunteering for the upcoming webinars, please contact the GACSA facilitation unit, and we will get in touch with you. So one more time, thank you very much for participating, and we'll get back to you soon. Thank you very much.